Welcome to the second episode of the Movie Analysis playlist. In this episode, we're gonna use Power BI to extract interesting insights about the movies I watched. Instead of trying to answer very specific questions like, who is my favorite actor? Do action movies get more prizes than comedy movies? Or do I tend to watch sad movies in certain hours or months? I will try to build the exploratory tools needed to also give a more general overview of the interconnected dataset we composed in the last episode. To conduct this analysis, I used a very common technique in journalism that aims to answer 5 W questions: who, what, when, where, and why, which in the end I replaced with a section about awards. Each of these questions is treated like a theme explored in a tab of a dashboard. I'm not going into the details of how I built the dashboard, since you can see the final result in this video, and download the visual from the GitHub linked in the description. You can follow along with my data in this video, but I encourage you to try with your own data. You may find opposite results or very interesting correlations. I will show practical examples of information retrieval that are pretty clear and known by everyone, to show the validity of the analysis, also to people that are not passionate about cinema. Let's get into it. In this section, I tackle what each movie is about. To do that, my first idea was to use a sunburst chart listing some of the characteristics found in the tag option of the dataset, with the film genre on the second layer. Unfortunately, these features are present only in a handful of movies and describe only some facet of the plot. If, for example, we explore action movies within the deception feature, we can see that only a handful have their plot revolving around deception, such as Inglourious Basterds or Maleficent. So, in the end, I opted for a simpler alternative that leaves space for more genres, and the word cloud, that shows the most frequent words describing the movie. From this, we can see how words describing the protagonist, such as boy, young, family, mother, father, and the environment, such as home, world, and city, are the most frequent ones. If we focus on horror movie, for example, we can see some scary words emerging, such as death, mysterious, night, and killer. Exploring movies related to Christmas, we can see a majority of comedy ones. Thriller for the police term, family for children, action for powerful and fight. This visualization automatically removes the stop words, which are words with little meaning on their own, such as the, this, and many other. I had to integrate with some manually, but having a perfectly clean representation would need a whole other video dedicated to text analytics. In this page, I also added a visualization for a measure that I named Chorality Index, that shows how many actors are in a movie. In ensemble movies, there are more actors involved, but very few movies have more than 20. Most movies have less than 10 actors featured, with a sweet spot around 5. I couldn't build a where page without a big nice choropleth map. In particular, this one shows the country where movies are produced, which is the same information shown on the side, along with the production studio. We can see a stark prevalence of USA, with Italy and Japan behind, and a lack of African and Middle East countries. To adjust for this, I had to edit the value for color mapping, so that the red hue, which represents a higher value, is somewhat present for countries different from USA. From this visual, along with the average rating, we can easily see that I like Japanese and French movies more than the Italian ones, with the United States falling in between, also for the large sample size that tends to average out the outliers. We can also see how many Chinese movies are animation ones, and the overall darker tone of films from Sweden. I can also see where the movies are set, both in terms of country, and here USA is first again, unsurprisingly, and in terms of environment. Yes, Harry Potter is spot on in a castle, and also, well, cars in the car category makes sense. This page mainly shows information related to dates and times. I plotted with bar plots the times in which I mainly watched movies. we can see how Monday is overrepresented, but this is because there was a day where I downloaded the reporting app and marked many movies as seen, despite having watched them several years before. You can also see this imbalance in the initial part of the year and month view. For some reason, there is a bimodal distribution on the times of the day, but I honestly cannot explain why. We can also see the times where each movie is set, and I think the top spots are in recent times only because they are from those years. In the remaining space, I decided to plot a slightly more unusual graph. I wanted to show with a Gantt chart the distance between the dates a certain movie was published and the date I watched it in. Since we have so many lines, the final result becomes pretty unreadable, but it overall shows the publishing dates with its profile, and the initial reporting date I spoke about before. I will go over this briefly, since I could only fit 2 interesting insights. There seems to be a sort of prize inflation, since more recent movies tend to receive more awards, even though that's expected since the expansion of the medium and the higher number of committees. Also, there doesn't seem to be a positive correlation between budget spent on a movie and the awards given. It's empirically not true that the more you spend, the more you get. One could confirm this hypothesis by analyzing all the movies in the DB, which is possible by the way, but I'm going to pass this time. In this section, I aim to show people, mainly actors and the characters they play, so it's only right to give the spotlights to their thumbnails in the center of the page. I added filters for the single movie. For example, you can see the characters of 8 Mile, or filter all the movies in which Robert De Niro was starred. In this case, we won't be surprised to see that these 18 movies have a very prominent crime genre and are distributed in a very wide range of years. On the more light-hearted side, the comedy genre of movies starring Ben Stiller naturally emerges from the thumbnails. We can also explore voice actors for animation movies, if we wish to. To top it off, I built a general page to show a general overview with the total number of movies, shorts, actors, directors, ratings, and even the source of inspiration for the movies. For example, we can confirm that The Wizard of Oz and Lord of the Rings have the book as their inspiration. From this page, one can have again an overall idea of mood and genres of some directors, such as the fever dream-like atmospheres of Tim Burton, the shiny details of Makoto Shinkai, or the desaturated look of Clint Eastwood's thumbnails. That's it for this exploratory analysis video. In the next episode of this series, I will try to build a piece of recommender system, much like Netflix tries to feed you movies he thinks you would like. See ya!